What's up, guys? Hey. Let's see here. I think everything's working fine. Give me a second to get pop-out chat here so that I can see what's going on with you guys real quick. And we will get going here. So... Alright, make sure this is going. And going well. Alright, looks like we're in the green, so everything seems to be working good there. Don't see anyone in chat yet, but that's entirely possible that because of this late start that I'm not going to see as many people tonight. So, anyway, hi, how is everybody? So, due to Umbra's absence, with the approach of Christmas and all of that, he's been really busy today, getting his family's house ready, getting everything cleaned up and whatnot, helping his family get everything cleaned up for the visitors that they're going to have and whatnot. And because of that, he has declined doing the live stream tonight. He's just gotten done with cleaning and he just wants to relax for a little while. So I decided to go on with the stream without him, but I didn't want to continue Halo Legendary, the Legendary Marathon, without him, because A, that would be suicide, and B, that's kind of a thing that we've got going together, so I don't want to change that. Anyway, with that said, I had to make a kind of change to the live stream. Everything here is kind of last minute, so I do apologize for that. And I do also apologize for me looking over to the left all the time. From here on out, when I do recordings and whatnot, I'll be using this GoPro to capture all of my video. And since it's to the left, I've already trained myself to look that way all the time. But you guys are up here for the time being, so I will do my best to keep eye contact with you and everything as this goes on, but please bear with me on that one. Anyway, I decided in the spur of the moment that I would do Game Dev Tycoon. Now, this was one that came out several I think a couple of years ago, maybe like 2012, 2013, something like that. But I had really enjoyed it, and I just got it not too long ago, and I thought it was fantastic. Now, this was, at the time, and I think it might still be, this was Greenheart Games' first game. I haven't seen anything come from them since. That doesn't mean they've disappeared. They might have had some other stuff, and I just haven't been looking hard enough. But for a first game, this was absolutely fantastic, and I loved it. So I figured that I would share it with you guys. Now, YouTube's probably done this to high hell, but for me, this is a relatively new thing. So without anything else, I do have several saves on this game, but I think I'll start a brand new one just to see what kind of a hand I get dealt. So anyway, here we go. Welcome to Game Dev Tycoon. In this business simulation, you have been transported back in time to start your very own game development company right at the beginning of the PC revolution. In the next 35 years, you can build your dream company, create best-selling games, gain fans, and become the leader of the market. Before you can start your adventure, you have to give your upcoming company a name. Yes, I was going to say a game. I'm a male. And we're going to call this Stormfront Games. And alright. Give myself about the wackiest hairdo I can find. Maybe. Yeah, we'll stick with that, whatever. And I'm gonna give myself an ugly sweater because ugly sweater. Yeah, we'll go with the Argyle. That'll be fun. Alright, now, in this game, when you play, you unlock hints and you unlock all sorts of other stuff, including market research and whatnot, as you go along. Things that kind of tell you how certain games perform and what's important to them. Usually, I would import this stuff so that this company would have greater success than my previous companies have. But in this case, I'm going to go no so that we have just the vanilla experience. So from here, it's literally develop your own games, and you do it using no particular engine at a time. So I don't usually name my games until I figured out what they're about. That just seems smart to me. Game. Well, I wonder if that would do particularly well. Probably, but we'll save that for later. I'm going to go with superheroes on this one. I didn't get dealt a particularly good hand, but I'm going to go a superhero adventure. Actually, no, action games. Now, development here is kind of a big deal. Developing for the PC is always a safe bet just because the PC continues on into the future. But I, in the beginning, always developed for the G64, simply because it has a greater market share, and in the beginning, it's more powerful than the PC. Now, the PC, the development cost only costs $5,000 versus $20,000, but I consider the G64 to be what you would call a safe investment in the beginning, depending on what kind of hand you get dealt. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to go 2D graphics. That's going to cost quite a bit, but hey, why not? Now, throughout the whole deal, you will gain design points and bugs and technology and research points. Bugs are something that crop up throughout the development. This is going to be heavy on story and quests and gameplay. Actually, I'm going to take that down a little bit, that up a little bit. Engine's not going to matter so much. It's going to be more about the action and the story than anything else. But bugs are something that you can't address, and I forgot to name this game. It's okay. Thankfully, you can rename the game at the end of development if you feel that you've made a poor choice, so as long as I remember to do that, the game will do well. Forgetting to name a game can actually significantly hurt your sales, so you don't want to do that, especially in a game where the whole point is to make sales. So anyway, we're going to move on with those sliders. This increases the amount of time it takes to develop the game overall. And I could spend less time on the engine, but I want to make sure that this still comes out as a relatively quality game. So. Wow. Bugs galore. 4 of them already. Alright, again, so we're at development stage 2 now. Level design is going to be big for an action game. Dialogue is going to be moderate. Artificial intelligence for an action game is kind of a big deal. As far as I know, anyway. And, you know, it's been a while since I played this, so I could be dead wrong. You also have to deal with monthly costs as the result of, you know, moving on with your design and whatnot. And then, whenever your character scratches their head like this, everything pauses. And that scratch of the head can take up to, like, several days, maybe even a week. That scratch of the head signifies a week's worth of just planning time and whatnot. Now, world designs, graphics, and sounds are all important for this, so we're going to extend the amount of time it takes. And this is a really, like, I would never recommend doing this normally, but this is my first game, so I want to make sure it's really good. This is just going to be kind of an interesting one. It's going to cost quite a bit, because, you know, monthly costs and whatnot are going to keep cropping up. And they're going to take money and whatnot. So if this game doesn't do well, I could end up failing right from the get-go as a result. Now, bugs here. This is the part where you debug things. If you finish a game before the bugs are out of it, you're going to end up with a buggy game, and that can be a real problem. Now, if you keep sitting here, you'll gain more technology and research points, but you're going to spend more time here, and there's another chance that more bugs will crop up. So I am going to... Like that. Exactly like that. A bug sneaking through at the last section. So now we're going to call this one Laser Man, just because I am unoriginal and just dumb. Anyway, so there is one bug in there, and that could significantly hurt the game, depending on how bad of a bug it is. And they don't tell you how bad the bug is, they just tell you that there's a bug. So, I could trash the game, but that means that I wouldn't make any money, and I'd only have $11,000 to make my next game, which would be really bad. I don't really have a choice but to release this one. And yes, I spelled laser wrong. But you know what? We're going to keep it, because I spell plasma with a Z as well. And that's just going to be my little deal. So now that that's out, and whatnot. See, I dropped down to having only 3 grand. Ooh, this isn't going to do well. Not much fun. And this is exactly what happens is, you know, sometimes a game that's produced just falls very, very short of expectations. This is maybe good enough for me to maybe get my next game going. Maybe. But the big problem is that I don't have a whole lot like racing simulators and 2D graphics. I mean, they're not bad, and I might do just that for my next one, just because the game had moderate response from reviewers, but curious to see what they have in the future. Okay, well, again, we'll see how much it sells and whatnot. It's probably not going to sell real well, but 2,706 units in its first week. See, it makes a decent amount, you know. Now, I won't start development on my next game until I know I have at least 30,000 to spend on it. So now we're going to develop a game. Well, before that, why don't we generate a game report on this and find out what people think. That'll give us some time to accrue a little bit of extra money. And this gives me extra research points, which I can then use to research new topics and ideas. The following results. Superheroes and action is a great combination. Graphics are incredibly important. And the platform genre match was good. So I had a good idea. I just didn't focus on the right things. Anyway, we're going to develop a new game. This time we're going to do... F1... F1 simulator. Pick topic. We're going to go racing. Genre. Simulation. For the G64. Alright. 2D graphics, for sure. Can't do a text-based version of this. That would just be weird. Alright, so gameplay is going to be huge. Story and quests is not going to be as big of a deal. The engine is going to be a big deal here. Because if a game has a buggy engine right from the get-go, you have a real problem. Gameplay is going to be everything to this. There's not usually... For old racing games, there wasn't really much of a story. Or if there was, it was a very minor one. Oh, there's another bug. Alright. Level design is huge. Dialogues aren't going to matter in the slightest. Well, we'll spend a little bit of time on that. AI is going to be big. Experts say this might spell the end of competing hardware manufacturers. The funny thing is, though, is that the Commodore 64, which is what this basically is, that was true at one point or other. The Commodore 64 was far and away better than most of the PC platforms that were the personal computer platforms that were out there. And then it just slowly died, which was really unfortunate. But it was fantastic for the time period it was in. Now, world designs and graphics and sounds are all going to matter here. And I don't care if it means that I'm spending more or less time on any given deal. So, notice here that if I take all of these down to the same level, you end up spending the same amount of time on each of them as you would if you increase them all. Now, that's something that a lot of people don't realize. They just raise all the sliders and, oh, it'll be fine. And I did that last time, which was a mistake. So, I'm going to say world design should take up a good portion of the time. Graphics should take up a good portion of the time. And we'll let sound be sound because... actually, I should balance sound and graphics out a little bit. Maybe focus a little less on sound than on graphics. But that's a big thing. See, now... I am already $2,000 in debt because of all the time that it's taken to produce this game and all the other crap that's going on. So, that's a real problem. You're allowed to go into debt a certain distance, but alright, so I'm going to debug this game. I am a true believer in the sense that bugs can be a real problem. Bugs can actually, like, a single bug can ruin an entire game here. And I mean, since the whole idea is to make a marketable game, that can be a real problem. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and release this one, because again, I'm already in debt. I can't really afford not to. Bank account is in the red. Thankfully, your bank has enabled you to overdraw your account up to 50K, but be careful if your account goes below negative 50,000. You will go bankrupt. See, that's the concern here. And this is a very real scenario for budding game developers. A lot of times they go into debt just to produce their first game. And sometimes they never dig themselves out. It's a sad truth. Well, this looks like it's better. Shows potential. So this is getting warmer reviews. I'm not going to say that it's great, but could have been better. Well, now I got to do a market analysis of the whole deal, but I don't want to do that until after it's been out on the shelves for a little while. Ninvento is planning to home. Now, I love the way that these guys disguised the names of the companies that they're talking about without actually disguising them in any real way. I find that incredibly... It's kind of adorable, you know? The widely successful arcade game, Dinky King. Many industry experts doubt that home gaming consoles will take off, but we're eager to see what Ninvento will deliver. Now, as we all know, at one point or other... Well, maybe not everybody knows, but at one point or other, consoles were actually king. And a lot of the PC Master System people are going to, like, start biting my head off at this point. But there was a period of time, right around the time the PlayStation 1 came out. The PlayStation 1 had more processing power, more RAM, more everything than most home PCs at the time did. It was impressive. And that was what made console gaming so popular. Now, since then, computers have definitely stormed the market and taken a lot more of that on. But F1 Simulator was so successful, we now have 47 fans. Oh, yay. But no, there was a period of time where consoles were actually king. It's nuts. This is an important milestone in the history of Stormfront games. Now, that means a great deal, because the more money I have, the more I can afford to spend on developing new games. If this game does reasonably well, I could even start developing for another game console. Or another console entirely. But anyway, I'm going to start developing my next new game. Actually, I got to generate a game report for F1 Simulator first. I need to know what I did right and what I did wrong. Post-release analysis of F1 Simulator is complete. Racing and simulation is a great combination. World design seems to not be important for this. See, now that... I guess world design isn't exactly the same as map design, so that's kind of what my thinking was, but that kind of makes sense, I guess. Alright, well, let's develop another new game. And here, let's see what we got. Actually, you know what? No, we need to spend some time researching. We got 94,000. Let's do some research into a new topic. I'm going to do dungeon. Start the research on that. Now, a custom game engine costs 50 research points, but they can seriously enhance the ability of your games to perform well at market. So, really what I have to do now is that's the next thing I really want to focus on. Ninvento has confirmed recent rumors and announced their plans to release a new home gaming console called the TS early next year. The console features cartridge-based games and a uniquely designed controller. Now, for those of you who don't know, back then, cartridge-based gaming was incredibly popular for a couple of reasons. First of all, at the time, CDs were relatively expensive to produce. Cartridges were just as expensive, but the flash capability of those things made them very easy to install games onto. There was no lengthy writing process, none of that. It was literally flash the game on and it was done. They also had no loading times, which was fantastic. And the same idea runs in a lot of your computers now. You now have solid-state hard drives where they're significantly less loading time because it doesn't have to read and write the way that a typical hard drive would or a CD would. That's also why flash flash drives have a tendency to be a faster transfer rate. Although not so much anymore with the advent of USB 3.0 and how much faster portable hard drives can spin than they used to. All right, so we're going to research. We researched that. Custom game engine is going to have to wait. So we're going to develop a new game. It's going to be a dungeon adventure for the G64, and we'll call this Dragons and actually and get an extra space there. Okay. All right, yeah, that'll do. Again, 2D graphics, costs a little bit more, but now this is an adventure game. Engine's not going to matter quite so much as story quests and gameplay are. Gameplay is going to be a little bit more moderated, while story and quests are going to be the huge thing. Got a bug right off the bat. That's good. Don't scratch your head. We don't have time for that. But anyway, this is basically all there is to the game. There's not a lot to it and whatnot. The ultimate goal is to build your own company and whatnot. Once you've made your first $1 million, okay, dialogues are going to be huge here, so it's level design. Artificial intelligence, on the other hand, not really all that big a deal. Level design is going to be huge. Dialogue, seemingly just as much so, but anyway. Eventually, once you make your first $1 million, you can move into an office, but the problem with the office is you have the ability to hire employees at that point, but you also increase your monthly costs by a significant amount more, which means you have to produce more games to pay for things, which can be a real problem. World design is going to be huge for an adventure game, and graphics are going to be huge for an adventure game. Sound, again, not going to be that big of a thing. I gotta debug this thing. The less bugs I have, the better. I'm gonna let this develop for a little while more. We've got the money to handle that, and I want this game to be as good as possible. So, is there gonna be any more bubbles coming out of your brain? Didn't think so. The new platform by TES, or the TES by Ninvento, has been released today. Now, I could develop a game for that if I so chose. Ooh. I see a bug just kind of leaked out there. I got lucky there. Okay. I'm an idiot. Well, I knew there was something wrong here. But anyway, okay, so there's that and whatnot. All of my stats are getting close to leveling up, which is good. That's exactly as it should be. So, here we go. Now, you do not, in the beginning, have the ability to develop sequels. That doesn't come until later. And because of this, you can't use your previous title's hype to the sequel's advantage if you want to produce something similar to it. So anyway, let's see here. Dragons and Kings is in. This is not going to do well at all. Okay, so this is going to be a complete... Man wasn't even a thing at this time. Disappointing. Has its moments. Okay, so we're probably not going to generate a whole lot of revenue from that. We lost a couple of fans because of that. The contracting business, and we could use skills like yours. If you're ever short on cash, just let me know and I'll see if we have some work for you. Now, contract work is kind of a gamble. What you do is you take your technology and design skills and you say, okay, this is what I need to kind of do. You get 3 weeks to do this one, 5 weeks to do that one, 4 weeks to do this. And the problem is if your development skills aren't up to par what you'll end up doing is you run out of time. That's where this penalty comes into play. The penalty is something you have to pay out in the event that you screw the pooch on the whole deal. Instead of getting paid 22 grand, because even if you're one technology point short, let's say you made it to 4 here, and you had 17 technology points, you lose 7 grand instead of gaining 22,000. They don't pay you unless you complete the contract. That's the danger. And the only time I would ever recommend taking that is if you literally have nothing left. So let's do some research here. I want to see if I can get... medieval would have been a better way to go. Military simulation would be kind of fun, but we don't have the graphics for that yet. So I'm not going to unlock that just... Actually, you know what? Instead of doing that, I'm going to do a custom game engine. Now, there's a significant danger to researching your own custom game engine, too, because it costs money. A lot of money. Researching, like, gaining the research to do your own custom engine is one thing. That's just learning how to do it. But making a game engine after that is incredibly dangerous. It costs a lot of money. And depending on how you build it, it may not be a catch-all for your games, and then you severely limited yourself to what you can do. But I'm going to create a custom engine right now, just for the heck of it. We'll call it the Stormfront engine, or the Thunderhead engine. And it's capable of doing... See, and here's where you come with a problem. I only have 82 grand. And this is why I can't develop one right now, because if I don't put 2D graphics in, 2D version 2 graphics, it'll only be able to use 2D version 1 graphics, which aren't any better than what I've got access to now. Linear stories. Save games. If I develop in this, I would probably be in a pretty bad spot. So we're going to not do that, actually, right now. We're going to instead develop a new game. We're going to do another... Let's see here. When was... I need game history quick. You never want to develop 2 of the same kind of game too close to one another. So it's been almost a year since I did F1 Simulator, and that did ridiculously well. So we're going to produce another F1 Simulator type game. But we're not going to do F1 Simulator. That got a grand total of a 6. That got a 3.75. My first game did better than Dragons and Kings, which is really sad. But if I want to develop a new game, let's just say... Well, heck, let's do another superhero action game. The license cost for this is $80K. But it currently has the most market share. I could go into debt if I did that, but the problem right now is I can't afford that. So instead of that, I'm going to do another racing simulator. And this is what it kind of boils down to, is you've got to pick what makes the most sense. Racing simulator doesn't really work, but if I don't do... Like, what if I do a dungeon action game? Now, superheroes in action was a decent... Yeah, this is a great combo. So we're going to just go... I don't know. I don't got a good title for this one. I don't. And I should probably mention to you guys, I can't actually see chat. And that's unfortunate. I tried to do it where I could see chat, and the problem there is that when I resized the window, it resized it in OBS as well, which made it a real problem. So anyway, let's just do... I'm going to be that guy. I just had to. Superhero action, we're going to do 2D graphics V1. And that's going to cost us 30 grand. This is the real gamble. This is where things get to be kind of dicey, because an action game doesn't need stories and quests as much. It does need good graphics. It does need good gameplay. And whatnot. So we're just kind of we're playing an interesting game here at this point. Like, well, the biggest thing too is you want to develop another game more often than not while your current game is on the market, because that'll help mitigate some of your monthly costs. You kind of have to plan out, all right, this game is going to do really well. The next couple of games I can maybe experiment on. I'll experiment hardest on games while I've got another game out on the market that's paying for my bills and whatnot. But now that that's off the market and there's nothing else paying for it, I got to be really cautious. Level design is going to be a big deal, and so is artificial intelligence. Dialogue is going to be less of a big deal. Alright, so we want to do graphic more than anything. This is an action game. Nobody cares about the world design as much, as far as I can tell. You want this to be loud and awesome looking, and less about, you know, what it looks like. So let's just, graphics is a huge deal. You want to focus on that more than anything else. So we're going to take sound and world design back to their original values, and we're just going to focus on the graphics for the most part. And maybe, just maybe, this does a little bit better as a result of that. It's possible. It's also possible that this just goes really poorly for me. So, let's see if any more bubbles want to come out of his head beforehand. And see, there's another one. I don't want any last-minute bugs. There we go. Alright, so I'm able to do engine, gameplay, level design. Everything's going to go up, it looks like. Yep. See, now I could probably take on some contract work and it wouldn't be quite so miserable. But, yeah, let's release it and see what happens. Game tutorials and mono sound. There you go. Now, game tutorials are a huge deal. Those really help players out. Have you ever tried playing a game that didn't have a tutorial? It just dropped you right in? Never any fun. Alright, this looks a little more promising. There we go. Could have been better. Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me any. Good game. Quirky, but good. So that's not a bad set. 7s and 6s isn't bad. So, let's see how this works. I don't want to start developing another deal. Has proven to be a massive success. Yep. Now, I wanted to jump in on that right away, but now that we know it's been a massive success, that usually means that it's overtaken a significant portion of the market. So this is good news. If I want to develop for it, I could. Okay, I have to say, I agree with that statement. Playing with a controller is so much better than playing with a keyboard. And I'm going to get so much hate for that from other people. But, that's gaining us fans, and we're getting decent amounts in sales. So now, I don't want to create a custom engine right away. Not until I've seen how this kind of thing happens on a different console. Now, I've just made one of those, but a racing simulator might do well on a console as well. So, let's do a racing simulation, and let's, to heck with it. Yes, I know. Alright, so let's just go F1. Now that puts us significantly into debt. And that is, this is a big gamble at this point. This is a really big gamble I'm taking here. Story and quest isn't going to matter. The gameplay is going to be huge. The engine's going to be huge. This could either be the death of my company or catapult me forward. So level design was not important for this. AI was on some level. Dialogues, I think, are not going to be all that good. It doesn't mean I don't want to spend some time on level design, though. You don't want to have crap level design. You just focus on the things that make a simulation good. A competitive edge. You want to feel like the computer can win if you're not working hard enough. Alright, so I'm only about 9.6 thousand in debt. That's not terrible. Oh, I should have focused on level design. Oh, I've done something very wrong here. Oh well, I might have goofed and I might have doomed my company, but, you know, who knows. World design isn't a big deal, but level design was. And that is something I goofed on. That could be really bad. That could be incredibly bad, actually, depending. But I don't have a choice. I have to release this game, because otherwise it could go very badly for me. See, I didn't spend enough time on level design there, and this is probably going to get me into some trouble. But we'll see. We'll see how it does. It'll either do really good, or... target audience. Now that's a huge deal later. This is not gonna go well. Well, that's not horrid. This is doing better than I expected. What? I was expecting this to go so bad, and it turned out to be the best set of reviews we've had. Oh, creating custom game engines. I know, but I can't afford to. Wow, that's not bad. That's actually fantastic. Holy crap. The Venta. Alright, so let's see here. Use a home gaming console of their own. Yeah, that'll be Sega trying to enter the market, and that's not a bad thing. Sega did an amazing job on their stuff. Never let anybody tell you that Sega did poorly with their gaming consoles. They were king of the world for a little while there. Their handheld was amazing, too. The Game Gear. That was the first handheld console to have color. See, now that did so much better than I'd anticipated. That was the best game this company's produced so far. And I thought it was going to be terrible because of the bad level design. I mean, it could have been better, I think, with better level design. But one of the things I want to do, I want to generate a game report on F1 Revamped. Yep. that even looks like... that looks like a Master System to me. Oh, and of course, they call it the Master V, yep. God, I love it. Look at that. Alright, so, game report is done. Post-release analysis, we got the following. Dialogue seemed to be not very important, which, oh, that's it. Oh, well, that was a waste of time. Anyway, let's develop a new game. Now, I don't have to spend as much on this next game if I develop it for a console. I need to see how much time has passed since I released Dragons and Kings. Alright, so let's see here. That was released in U2 month 3, so it's been over a year since that was released. Laserman came out, and then we had Ultraman, that came out in year 2 month 9, so it's not been a year yet. I'm thinking we'll do another Dragons and Kings style, but we need to generate a game report on Dragons and Kings and Ultraman. We'll start with Dragons and Kings and find out what kind of review or feedback we can get for that. This also gives me extra research points to work with, which is huge. Dungeon and adventure is an okay combination. Story and quests seem to be very important for this type of game. So, dungeon and adventure wasn't really a good thing. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was not great. Let's go research. I want to research mono sound. That's a $40,000 investment, and it takes time to research, but it'll be helpful in the long run. I want to have mono sound available because if I research mono sound, I might be able to research stereo sound sooner rather than later. Game tutorials are another really good thing. But a target audience, more than anything else. Now, it might seem like I'm spending a ton of money on research and whatnot, but I'm going to thank myself for it later. While I'm currently doing things well, I should take advantage of that. Today, the new game platform, the Master V by Vina, has been released. It's going to throw me off because I'm going to want to say Sega every time. Alright, so anything else we want to research? Let's see what's available under... Something went wrong there. Oh, I can't research new topics? Is that... Oh, no, I'm just straight up not allowed... Oh, I don't have any research points. I'm an idiot. That would be why. Alright, so let's develop... Let me go game history. How long's it been? It's been 6 months since... There... I didn't realize we gained that many fans from that one game. That's fantastic. Okay, superhero action, not a real big deal. Dragons and Kings came out well over a year ago. So we're able to produce a new adventure game. So let's develop a new game. Let's go. Everyone. Create a topic. Let's go. Actually, I gotta figure out what kind of game I'm going to develop because I don't want to do another Dungeons thing because that just wasn't the right pairing. Why don't we do... I need to generate a game report on Ultraman too to find out how that did well and what it did badly. That'll also give me some access to some research points. Not very many, mind you, but... You know... The following gameplay seems to be quite important. Platform, audience match, G64, everyone was good. Audience match, everyone was topic. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm getting out of that is if I were to do another one of these, I should put it probably on the console. So why don't we do game history? When did this come out? That was year 2, month 9. This is year 3, month 7. By the time it comes out, it'll have been over a year. That is more than adequate. Okay, so let's develop a new game. This is going to be everyone. We're going to do superhero adventure, or superhero, was that a superhero action? I forget. I don't know if I did superhero adventure or superhero action. I don't know why. I can't remember that. I'm an idiot. This is superheroes action. Good. Okay. Develop new game. Pick topic. Superhero. Pick genre. Action. Great combo. Pick platform. I'm going to develop this. It costs 30,000. Oh, I don't even have to buy. Why don't we do that? And we're going to call this one... Zeta. Now, I can't develop sequels yet, which is kind of annoying, but hey, we'll get over it. 2D graphics V1, 10K. The more you know. Okay, so, gameplay was huge. Engine, probably less so. And story quests, we'll keep yeah, we'll just keep that where it is. Okay. This is why research and whatnot is so important. It'll tell you better how to develop your games so that you avoid things that you don't need. So, in this one, you want a decent AI to fight against. Dialogues aren't going to be that big of a deal, but level design you're probably going to want to do a little bit better on. That's the first bug that's come out of this game. That's fantastic. Graphics are huge. Sound, less so. Just keep that moderate and keep that slider in the middle for world design as well. That's right. Until I make a custom game engine, I can't use the mono sound research that I had, which is really kind of crappy. But again, I couldn't afford to make a custom game engine this time around. If this game does really well, then I might be able to do that. But see if we can get a couple extra bubbles out of this thing. I want to make sure this thing does relatively well at market. Okay, no bugs coming through. Good. That's a new record for tech, which is good. There you go. There you go. Okay, this may or may not do well. We'll see. Like I said, this is almost a year in from the previous one, so the fact that I'm seeing 10s anywhere is their focus on artificial intelligence served this game very well. It was a nice experience. Enjoyable. There you go. See, now we're producing good games relatively often. Now, I'm going to wait until that gets off the market so that I can learn as much about it as I possibly can. Wow, we gained 97. Wow. Gained 97 fans from that one deal. You should start developing that new custom engine. Okay, the Thunderhead engine. We're going to do that. Linear story. The ability to save your game and use mono sound. And I'm going to have to wait, I guess, until the next set of sales comes through. See, now this is what I was talking about. The Commodore 64, or the Govador 64 in this case, started to die slowly against other PC manufacturers because they started to catch up to the focused hardware and software. That was actually true. One of them actually came out and said it. It was like, it's just, I think, well, I don't know if that was actually a true fact. But I do remember some people finding at one point or other, I do remember reading somewhere that it just eventually became too expensive. Okay, so now I can develop my custom engine because we have 244,000. That is enough for me to be able to do a linear story, have save games, do the mono sound, and still come out with 120 grand. Thunderhead. And now I have to do lots of technological research, which is fine. We've got money coming in as things go along, which is now poor the game link. Okay, so this is for better or worse the Game Boy, and the Game Boy is immensely popular. We all know the portable market exploded. It's kind of tenuous now because mobile gaming on your phones has become such a big deal, but I think if there's anybody that's going to continue to produce handhelds, it's going to be Nintendo. So, underpowered, but given the lower cost and the excellent portability, it might find a huge following. The ability to take it wherever you want, that got kids into, when the original Game Boy came out, it got so many kids into trouble at school because they'd slip it into their backpacks without their parents knowing and bring it to school and freaking play it in class and whatnot. Oh, it was a fantastic thing, believe you me. And yet, you know, that generated another 278,000. So I've made millions, but I've never had a game do so successfully that I was, you know. There you have it. A game engine called Thunderhead Engine. the Thunderhead engine is now complete. Alright. Now, while we've got the money, let's develop... Actually, I need to take a look at my game history. Alright, so we did Zeta Man and F1 Revamped came out year 3, month 1, week 1. So it's been over a year since we did F1 Revamped. Why don't we do another racing game? Develop a new game. E, pick topic. Actually, I need to generate a game report on Zeta Man while I've got the time. Okay, the Gameling's out. That's nice. Not at all important for this game. TES, everyone was good. Okay. We're going to develop a new game. It's going to be E for everybody. It's going to be a racing simulator. We're going to pick the Thunderhead engine, obviously. And I want to put this out on... The TES has still got the biggest market share. Well, besides the Gameling. The Gameling is the brand new thing, though. And you don't do racing games on a handheld. It's been done before, and I'm not saying it turned out poorly, but on a Game Boy with its basic graphics, maybe not the best idea. Although, I don't have to buy a development kit for that, so... Oh no, I do have a license cost. License cost of $50,000. The TES and the Master V are going to compete with each other night and day. Thunderhead engine, great combo. Here's hoping. We're going to do version 2, 2D graphics. Oh, I forgot to name it. That's okay. We can still fix that. Alright, now, if I know anything about this, it does not need that. It does need save game. Definitely. Story quests can be moderate and whatnot. Doesn't need to have a linear story. Yeah. That'll be what I use for my future games and whatnot, though, is linear stories and whatnot. Branching stories are a huge deal, but so dialogues are not at all important, so we're not going to really focus on that much at all. Level design and artificial intelligence will take up the bulk of our time at that point, which is fine by me. Alright, now we get to this point, and world design, again, not really all that important. Graphics, huge. Sound, big deal. I'm going to make it a bigger deal. Well, make this less of a deal, and this a bigger deal. And, okay, and we're going to do mono sound, because, you know, we're cool like that. It costs more. Again, we're investing a crap ton into this game, but that should show we got lots of bugs to work out. Ooh, we got marketing research. Good. Is there anything else going to come out of my brain? Or is that it? Nope. There's one more bubble for each category. 2. Any more tech? Probably not. Alright. Let's just go F1 Fury. Everything seems dandy and fine. As far as I know, anyway. 2D graphics version 2, level 1. We gained quite a bit of experience doing that, which is good. It's exactly how it should be. So, let's see how this does. Oh, crap, I didn't save the name. That's gonna ruin this game. It's better than the name. As long as it... Yeah, that tells me that this would have been fantastic. If I had properly named it. Good, despite the name. Very enjoyable. This is going to do really well, but man, I cannot believe that I didn't save the name. I didn't hit the button. I could have had tens and nines across the board, probably. But it's still going to do well, more than likely. For the sheer irony of that, I will be happy. That generated 94,000 in one go. That's amazing. We get this amount easily. That's true, actually. Has announced a Portal comp. Yeah, now this is going to be color, and a racing game would make sense on it. It's basically the full power of the Master V, except you can take it with you. So as a full color screen. That was also relatively true at the time. The biggest problem with the Game Gear was it took so much battery juice. It was a battery monster. Alright, anyway. Let's do some more research. I need to research topics. I'm thinking medieval. I'm thinking do that next. Then we're going to research marketing. Marketing is a huge way to build hype for your games. And building hype for your games is a massive thing. You have to do it. Have to. There you go. Look at that. And look at how much money we have. That's actually relatively impressive. Especially for a game I forgot to name. The Vina Gear by Vina has been released. Now, I could afford to buy the license for that. And I should point out, too, this game does not always follow history as we know it. In some cases, consoles that didn't do particularly well before, originally, end up doing amazing this time around. Now, why that is, I don't know. Just to kind of throw off people who think they know it all, I guess. Probably. That'd be my guess. Let's go. Let's research marketing. Actually. Oh, I don't have enough RP. Okay. Well, generate a game report on Game 7. Which is going to tell me exactly this. Name your games, you moron. Engine seems to be very important for this. Platform match was okay. The rating was great. Okay. Alright, well, I can get behind that. Let's go research again. I want to research marketing, but I need RP for that. So we're going to develop a game. Pick a topic. Let's go medieval adventure. Actually, a medieval RPG. That sounds like fun. I'd play it. Market share currently. Actually, let's market this for a mature audience. I'm taking a gamble here. I've got the money for it. Why not? Pick the game engine, Thunderhead. Let's go. Dragons. Let's go let's just go Dragons and Kings 2. Oops. Technically not HD. But there we go. And this will be the last one I do, and then I'm going to call it a night just because, obviously just seeing me do this is not really a big deal. This game can teach you a significant amount about how market research goes, though, and it can teach you a little bit, well, I shouldn't say significant amount for anything, but it can teach you a little bit about gaming history, too, which is fantastic. I love it, because a lot of the younger kids out there who weren't around for the NES when it was released, who weren't around when the original Game Boy was released, they're not really quite sure why those things were special at the time. Because obviously everything they have now is way better. But at the time, some of those things were fantastic. Now, what do we know about this? We know story and quests are kind of a big deal for RPGs, and gameplay is. Engine is, gameplay less so. Let's go like that. That seems like a fair deal. And we're going to give this a linear story with save game capability because hell yeah. Everybody loves a linear story. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. RPG it'd be kind of hard for me not to have. Okay, so we're going to have to do... dialogue is kind of a big deal. Level design, not as big a deal, but still kind of a big deal, I guess, on some level. Dialogues. Artificial intelligence is not as big a deal for RPGs. Level design and dialogue are king here. We'll go down there with that. Bring these sliders up just a twitch. There. That seems feasible. RPGs can be a huge benefit because, like in the real world, RPGs are... Now, world design is kind of a big deal here. Sound is not quite so much. Graphics... I would say these two are on par with sound, bringing up the rear in some ways. Yeah. We'll publish the interview next week. 2 months, the G64 will be taken off the market. That is a big milestone, because that means that, you know, developing games for the G64 is... We think that players are looking for mature content and games are willing to take a risk to give it to them. Sooner or later, games with mature themes will become more common. We are curious to see how the market will react to those games. So am I. This thing already has a hype of 5, and I didn't even do marketing because I didn't have the ability to research marketing. Because I don't know. Well, as long as those bubbles are just going to keep popping out of my brain, I'm going to... Filed for bankruptcy. And that is actually how that went down, if I remember my gaming history right. It was either bankruptcy or they quietly faded into the background and just closed down. I don't remember which, but it was not good. Alright, we're going to finish that. That's double new records, new topic, and new combo. We're going to see how this turns out. Wow. I gained a lot of graphical experience there. This looks, for all intents and purposes, like a good game. We'll see. Ooh. Waste of money. Wow. I think the big problem here... I'll tell you what I think the big problem here was. Is we created a mature game for a console that was targeted at kids, for the most part. It's targeted for younger audiences. We're going to lose some fans here, which sucks. That's okay. I want to generate a game report on Dragons and Kings. But I don't want to do that just yet, because the later you generate that report, the better. Yep. See, I was dead on. It's just the wrong... If I had wanted a thing for mature audiences, I should have gone for the... Anyway, research. Need the research marketing and tutorials if possible, but it won't be. So we're gonna spend 50K on the sales numbers. I had hoped that it would be better than that, but I failed to think about what console I was releasing it on. I should never have gone for a mature video game. Okay, so now we're going to develop a new game. My biggest problem now is that I don't have a decent platform to work with. I'm thinking the PC makes the most sense for a mature game. Obviously, we're not going to develop a mature game just yet. I think RPG would have been really good on the Master V. This is the big problem here, is that I'm out of... Alright, we're going to do a superhero game for everybody. This is going to be Quasi-Man. And I actually did say that the last one was going to be my last one, so I'm actually going to save this here, now that I think about it. Yeah, that only generated 64 grand. It didn't even pay for itself. I took a net loss on that one. But anyway, that is Game Dev Tycoon. And I mean, it's a very simple game, but it's one that I seriously enjoy. I have nothing but good things to say about it. I am so happy with the developer, you know, of this game for taking the chance to, you know, make it happen, to do things the way they did them. And I can't say that I'm entirely surprised by their choice, or like the way that things move here, because again, I've been alive since just shortly after or actually I think it was just as the NES was released, or very shortly after I was it was released very shortly before I was born, one of the two. But yeah, 1991 was kind of a huge thing for video gaming. I mean, that was when Sega came out with the first Sonic game. Well, that was when Sonic was conceptualized. I forget if the comic book or the game came first, but that was a huge year for video gaming. That was, I mean, we all know the Sonic franchise today. And despite what you may think about their 3D games, it's had a lasting impact. So anyway, this has been Game Dev Tycoon. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know the game itself is not particularly exciting, but this kind of gives me a chance to do something relaxing, and I think Umbra really needed the time off. So this was good for him too. If you guys are interested in seeing more games kind of like this one, where they're very simple and I get to talk to you guys a little bit more, let me know. Otherwise, if you guys really want to see a particular game, whatever it may be, I don't care if it's horror, racing simulator, if it's Grand Theft Auto, if it's whatever. I don't care what games it is. I want to know what you guys want to see. I want to know, because you guys kind of get the idea of what I like to play, and I kind of stay in my comfort zone, this little box. And I want to break out of that a little bit. So, you know, send me a request. Send me all the things you guys want to hear about, and I will catch you next time. This is Plasma Storm, signing off. Well, something has gone very wrong here. I can't actually stop OBS. So, hi, everybody. Sorry, I know I said I was ending this stream, but, I don't know what's going on here. OBS has completely locked me out. There we go. Alright, everybody. Hope you guys had fun. See you next time.